Hi everyone, I'm Tammy. I'm the Siberian Wind. Welcome to another Saturday edition. We are going live a little early by like 5 minutes. Like normally I'm going early, way earlier than this if I go early. So we're just going early by about 5 minutes. If you guys do hear some background noise, I do have the window open. So I do apologize for that, but good morning. Good morning. I see Michelle's Crafts and More is here, and Chloe's here. Susie is here. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for coming to hang out with me. It is Saturday, even though I am wearing Wednesday. Absolutely love the Addams Family and Wednesday and all of that. Judy, welcome in. Good morning. I saw that you were getting gifts earlier. I'm excited for you. That's so cool. That's so cool. All right. So what I'm working on today, you guys, I still have not finished my client's quilt, but I am on the downward stretch. We are to the point where all I need to do is get the rows put together. So the corner that I got assembled before, there's a total of 4 of those for the 2 quilts. So I got that one assembled, and then I've assembled the 3 other corners. Everything else in the quilt is the same thing. So it has an angled piece or a half block, 5 blocks, and then another half block. Chloe, thank you. She says, that is wonderful. Go Tammy. Thank you. I am so ready to be done because I have a date for the long arm, and that is in 6 days. So I've got to be there Friday morning, so I've got to have this done. I'm debating on doing the borders the same way as what I originally designed. I'm not going to do them as flying geese. I'm thinking I'm going to do them as long half square rectangles. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. But I may see whether or not we want to make some slight adjustments to the borders. Just because it's fabric intensive, and I've already gone and gotten more, and like it's been a thing. It's been a thing. And I think the borders maybe okay. So here's my dilemma. These are going to be right at 45 inches wide, or just under 45 inches wide. Let's see. Yeah, 44 and an 1/8 inch wide or tall, which means I can't use 45-inch wide fabric on the long arm because that doesn't give me enough overhang. So making them a little bit shorter will be fine for the railing that they're going on. So that's my one dilemma right now is, just making sure that they're, the right size. And if we change the borders slightly, it will involve, if I shorten the borders a little bit, it's going to mean that the backing fabric is easier to calculate and figure. Otherwise, we need to come up with like 108-inch wide backing, which is really hard for a batik. So I may be doing a lot of assembly for the backing. So we kind of need to make decisions. We're at that point. We need to make some decisions. But either way, the tops will be complete this morning, or the center of the tops will be complete, and then we just need to make a decision about the borders. So I have messaged the client, let them know that we are on track and that we can go get backing this week. It basically needs to be before Thursday or by Thursday. That way I have it for Friday morning, because, yeah, I need to be on the road by 7 a.m. Friday morning. In order, at least 7 a.m. I think my long arm time starts at 9 a.m. So yeah, I gotta probably be on the road by like 6:30 in the morning. It's gonna be an early morning. So what I've got, all of my rows are assembled. There are 3 rows of this in the smaller quilt, and then all the rest of them go to the bigger quilt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just assemble the 3 real quick and set them aside. That way I don't accidentally sew them to the bigger set. And then that way when we get done sewing, we are done sewing. I don't have to think about it. Like I know I'm at the right number of rows. So 3 rows is not bad. I had to do 12 of these. So 5 blocks tall by 12 rows. That was 60 blocks, not counting the outside edges, and that's 24 of them. So that's what I was assembling yesterday. Getting all of that gone through. I had to do a lot of trimming, and trimming has taken me excessively long lately because of my rest. So it's still the matter of getting through it. So what all are you guys working on this morning? I know I've seen several of you in the lives this morning. I caught Sean this morning. I was a little late getting up, but I caught him this morning about halfway through, and then I managed to catch the beginning of Donnell's, and I just like tapped out of hers maybe 15 minutes ago, so that I could come over here. I know Russ and Laura Lynn over at Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, so Quilt Meets World and Mom and Pop Quilt Shop, they both are going live at the same time I am. So you guys, if you're subscribe to their channels, you'll get their notifications that they're going live right now as well. Chloe says, multitasking, watching you and my daughter's softball game. Awesome! Well, we are going to cheer for her, so every time there's something good that happens in her game, let us know so we can cheer for her, because that is like absolutely fantastic. I would love to be watching the softball game right now. I'm kind of diehard baseball. Chloe, or Rayanne is here. Welcome in, Rayanne. She says, hello, everyone. She's headed to the quilt adventure at a local quilt shop. Ooh. Is it the one here in town? If it's the one here in town, if you want to wait a couple of hours, I'll join you. I will probably be there. I'm going to have to go probably get more fabric is what I'm thinking for these borders. So especially if I do the full border the way I originally designed it, I'm going to need more fabric. There's just no two ways about it. My calculations were a little bit off. I don't think that Electric Quilt gave me the yardage that I needed for all of the borders. I think Electric Quilt shorted me some. Like it didn't catch the borders there. Jody from Quilt Squirrel is here. She says, hello, all, doing some hand applique on my quilt show block of the month. Oh, that's awesome. I have a couple of patterns that are going to be applique that I'm going to be working on in 2025. One of them is probably a 2-year project, so it's not, I doubt it's going to be done anytime next year. But I want to make a good dent in it during 2025. And then I have a second one, but I don't know that I'm going to do it by hand. I might alter it to do it by machine. And I think I've got a couple of ways I'm going to try. I don't want to do Carpenter Star. Oh, okay. You got a class. Awesome. I have not signed up for any classes at my local quilt shop. when you get there, you have to go downstairs for the classroom. And I know that they offer help to get downstairs and such. But you know how some buildings give you a little bit of, okay, this is going to sound really weird. So you guys, bear with me. You know how if you go certain places, you kind of get this feeling, and it's kind of a weird feeling. It's not, some people might call it creepy. Some people might call it paranormal or something like that. I kind of get the kind of paranormal kind of feeling in the Quilt Shops building. And I don't know if it's just because there might be a smell there that I'm picking up on or whatever it is, but that basement definitely gives me some paranormal feelings. So I can go down there, but I don't know that I can go down there for a long period of time for a class. So I'm not sure if I will ever get to the point where I can take a class there. Jody says that she's learning to hand applique and embroidery this year. Loving it. I'm glad you are. I know a lot of people get a lot out of hand embroidery. I am not one of those. I am definitely not one of those. Oh, I just realized that this camera is refocusing, guys. I am so sorry. Bear with me just a second. Let's see if I can fix that so it doesn't keep doing that on us. It's one thing for the camera to do it, then it's another thing for the software to do it too. Yeah, I think it was a setting. Okay. I think I've got it turned off, so if it keeps doing it, let me know. But I think it'll be just the camera doing it itself, not the software. I applaud anybody who can do hand embroidery. I can cross stitch, but I pull my stitches too tight for doing hand embroidery. I've tried lots of different techniques to try to keep my stitches loose. Putting a pin in it, resting it, all these techniques that have been recommended to me to try to get to where I can hand embroider, and my brain does not compute keeping my stitches delicate. I just want to pull them tight and make sure they're completely secure. Let's see. Rayanne says it's always a struggle for me. It has been here for a long time. My parents used to shop for my school clothes here a long time ago. Wow. Okay, so the local quilt shop that we've got, guys, apparently used to sell clothes. Susie says that she's only been there once but loved all their options. Oh, I love their options. Don't get me wrong. I'll go shop there. It's just I'm not sure if I can go downstairs and stay long enough to do a class. Kathy from My Hobby Home is here. Welcome in. She says hello. Hello. Welcome. Good Saturday morning to you. It is still morning barely for you. Oh. Yeah, I would love to take a class. I haven't taken any classes in a little bit. So I would love to take, I took classes at Quilt Wyoming in Cheyenne this past summer, but I would love to be able to take classes. I just don't think I can do it in that building. Kathy says she's sitting in the Hobby Lobby parking lot waiting for her sister, so it won't be long. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You need to go in there and go distract her a few times. Or send her a couple of text messages so she goes and looks for a couple things that you know that they don't carry. And that gives you longer to sit in the car and watch me. Oh, am I devious? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright, this is the last of the 3. So these are going into the smaller quilts. So I'm going to go ahead and trim my thread. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and add my last border because I do need my last sashing on here. my block, if you see this up here, you see that there is no sashing row. I did not put the sashing row in place. I wanted to make sure that I was getting everything done correctly the first time, so I did not pre-sew my sashing in place. Alright, I got a dog ear hanging over that flipped. Oh my gosh. Kathy says that she's already shopped. She had to get out before she bought the whole store out. Oh my goodness. Guys, I saw in one of my groups that I'm in on Facebook, these people are finding these Walmart stores that are clearance, like significantly clearancing their fabric. So my store had fabric that was $3 a yard. Now some of it is $2 a yard. And a lot of the stuff that's priced at $2 a yard is actually ringing up $1 a yard. But there was one lady in California, and her local Walmart, she went in there and she talked to the manager and she said, make me an offer and I will buy it all. And guys, she walked out with over 1,200 yards of fabric for $42. And I know that, you know, a lot of people say don't buy Walmart fabric because it's cheap or whatever, but it is getting some of these quilters in there to go get fabric that they are willing to play with and willing to test with. But I cannot imagine getting 1,200 yards of fabric for $42. And that was her after-tax total. It was 42 and some change. But they priced it, but they rang up the yardage as 3 cents a yard. The manager at that Walmart did not want to hang on to it and process it. Laura says, hi Tammy and everyone, welcome in, Laura. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good Saturday morning. But I did go back to my local Walmart. I did get a few more things, a few more pieces of fabric. I got like 3 more bolts of fabric. One of them is a flannel, and I was mainly getting them to use them as backing. So I do have some good backing options to throw on the back of a quilt, or maybe some background and things like that. So you guys might see some Walmart fabric come up soon. When I start getting into needing to cut into more fabric, you guys might end up seeing that come up. So I'm getting kind of excited. Leslie, love your shirt, Tammy. I hope there's a season 2. Oh, I would love for there to be a season 2. That would be fantastic. I watched the show, and you know, I kept asking my husband. I was like, "Do you want to sit there and watch it with me?" And he's like, "No, I'm not interested." I'm like, "Are you serious?" I think it was fantastic. It was done very well. Susie says it's going to be there Monday, so I'll check it out. Well, our Walmart doesn't have... Oh, check out your Walmart. Yeah, if your Walmart still had yardage, like by the yard fabric, that's when it would be clearanced out. So if it's on a bolt or whatever, that's when it would be clearanced. Katie from Greenland Quilter is here. Welcome in, Katie. Good morning. Well, it's not morning where you're at. But good morning from my side. Good mountain time morning to you. That's what we'll go with. Good mountain time morning. Oh. Does anybody... Okay, so anybody who caught Sean's live this morning, because I didn't catch the first half and I haven't had a chance to go back and watch. His guest this morning was from Soft Squares, or she runs Soft Squares. Does anyone know where she lives, like what state? Because she was saying her lives and she was saying Mountain Time. I'm like so insanely excited that somebody else is in Mountain Time. So I just don't know where she's at, and I want to find out. I'm figuring she's probably in Colorado. No Walmart here are going to be in Casper. So the East Side Walmart is the only Walmart that has the yardage, and they're almost out. They are literally almost out. They have one more. When I bought mine, I left one bolt that was completely still plastic wrapped, and it has pineapples and Yeah, it has pineapples all over it. Pineapples and flamingos and such. That Walmart has some, but that's it. Like the yardage that they've got left is like $1 a yard. The flannels that are on the bolts, those should scan at $2 a yard. They do have some other fabrics that are by the yard, but they are not clearanced. So my Walmart still has fabrics on the bolts that are $4.57 and $8 and something a yard. So like the Batik that I picked up that I really wanted, it was still $8 a yard. So I was kind of disappointed that they weren't, just clearancing everything. So I don't know what they are going to do. So I don't have the answers. All right, so this is the three rows. Okay, so this will have 2 corners going on the sides of it. I'm not going to worry about pressing it just yet because all of these will end up getting a good press once they are done. I'm just going to fold it and put it out of the way, and then we are going to put all of the rest of these together. That way they're assembled. We're going to put them together so they're assembled. Oh my gosh, guys. All right, so I'm going to show you at the top of the quilt, at the top edge. So instead of trying to do a triangle and figure out what size my triangles needed to be, I just went ahead and did squares. And so in order to continue this diagonal line, when I get ready to put the next piece down, it has to go staggered so that way, so there's not going to be some matching here. So I'm going to sew in this fabric a little bit without having any of this fabric, so that I can match my cornerstones here. That's my matching point. So when you are doing an on-point quilt, that is what you are going to be facing. Okay, so you're going to have a little bit of extra, unless the pattern is giving you exact instructions on exactly what sizes to cut. I designed this myself, so of course, no, I don't have those instructions. EQ does not do, EQ, I guess, could do a good job, but it wasn't giving me finished sizes. There's still some things that you have to know as a quilter when you are using EQ. So, like, it doesn't give you all of the instructions. It just tells you, it just gives you measurements, but it doesn't tell you, like, how to do it all. So, like, for the pinwheels, it gave me measurements. I ended up altering my measurements because I was not happy with how close my seam allowances would have to be and how much time I'd have to take to do it. So I really didn't have an option. Rayanne says, looking really good, Tammy. Thank you. Thank you. I definitely am behind on everything. This was supposed to be done it was supposed to be done by Sunday, and this week was supposed to be spent just working on Andrea's quilt. I do have one block of hers cut, and I do have one block of hers sewn, and then I do have the 11 others that are identical to it cut, so those won't take any time to assemble. And then I've got 24 more blocks to go. So I've got quite a few blocks to get cut out. But as soon as I get to, getting the borders on this and being done with it, then it's full steam ahead on that. And my temperature quilt. Anytime I'm out of the house right now is when I'm sewing on the temperature quilt. Just so I don't have to keep changing thread and needles and all of that. And I will have that pattern out, guys, by January 1st. Okay? Yeah, okay, I can't say it, can I? I can't say it on YouTube. Come rising tide. I really don't have a rising tide here because, you know, we have a river and that's it. It's not really, it's not really a traditional rising tide because I don't live on the beach anymore, or close to the beach. Whatever. Okay, I can't say the phrase, but you guys can probably type it. But yeah, one way or the other, that pattern will be ready before January 1st. So I will have that out for you guys. Thursday morning is the second class on the bobble quilt. If you guys see the bobble quilt, it is the one in teals and grays back here underneath the project that I'm currently working on. So I still have to finish cutting all of that. I did not finish cutting the other day. I really was challenged. Laura says, sorry, my sister called, but I'm back. Welcome back, Laura. I'm front. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry. Every time somebody says that they're back, it's the teenage humor. It is the teenage humor. That is all it is. There's no other good way to describe it. Is my teenage humor. Oh. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some stuff accomplished and getting it off my plate and being on to the next adventure. We still have to get Halloween Town. I still have to finish getting it stitched. Glenda has joined the chat. She says, morning, Tammy and everyone. Welcome in. Glenda, good morning. Good morning. It is still morning, barely where you are. We're getting there. We are getting there. It's going to be afternoon before you know it. For me, it is always going to be morning as long as I want it to be morning. Chloe says, back was buying snacks at the concession stand. Okay, you got to tell us what's in your snacks. What did you buy at the softball game concession stand? My go-to is usually nachos. If I'm really hungry, I get a hot dog. I don't typically buy hamburgers at the concession stands at the games. What else do I buy? I don't typically buy candy either. If I do buy candy, it's M&M's. It's like peanut M&M's because that gives me a little bit of protein and the sugar. All the things that you can buy at the concession stands. Oh my gosh. Do you guys ever, okay, if you ever go to a game or something, do you guys buy those pickles? The giant pickles? I used to eat them as a kid, and now when like somebody buys one of those, I'm just like hiding my face because the smell is so strong. And I just look at them and I'm just thinking, I don't think I can eat that. She said, for the kids, Sour Patch Kids and Push-Up Lollipops, no hot food. Oh, okay. That makes sense. My youngest loves Sour Patch Kids. When I was married to my ex-husband, his oldest, her big thing was the watermelon Sour Patch straws. Like, that was the only flavor she liked of them. And she really didn't like Sour Patch Kids, but she liked the Sour Punch straws. And Push-Up Lollipops. I'd probably eat the Push-Up Pop. That would probably be something I would eat. I don't know the last time I had one, to be honest. It's been a while. Oh, we can live vicariously through her kids. How's that sound, you guys? We'll live vicariously through the kids. The kids that burn off all the sugar in no time flat. Because I'm definitely not one of them. Let's see. Glenda says that her internet is still going in and out. Oh no! Is that leftover from the storm that came through? Is it the storm and the winds and all that affecting, and the rain affecting the internet signal? Chloe says those are good. I go for the chips. Yeah. That would probably be what I would get too, is probably chips. I do go for nachos, like, but those typically are on the hot food menu for the concessions that have them, and then like plain Ruffles or plain Lay's or something like that. Just for the salt. I just go for the salt. I'm a salty person. Oh, things I could say. I need Donna's shirt. I need Donna's salty shirt. Chloe says, "Oh my, Glenda, so frustrating." Right? It is. Yeah, when your internet's not reliable, it's for whatever reason. Even if it's a temporary situation, it's aggravating because you expect something and then it's not there. We have definitely become a generation, or a world rather, that is so dependent on connections. Glenda says, "I guess we got a lot of rain and under flood watch." Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I figured you might end up on one. My youngest is in Gulfport, or our youngest is in Gulfport, and she was, texting with her dad and going, no rain, just cloudy. And then she's like, but we're expecting 40-mile-per-hour winds, and like it's nothing. Of course, I mean, I'm up here, and 40-mile-per-hour winds is nothing. There's a road that goes closer to the mountain, so it is the South Loop Road, basically, or Outer Loop. There's a lot of names that people call it, but it goes closer to the mountain, and there's these little windsocks set up, and it says it's a high wind area, and every time I drive that road, and the windsocks are just like laying there, like not even blowing any at all, I just go, yeah, it's a high wind area, just not ever when I'm there. I have been there when it has been windy. There's days that we've got digital signs that warn you when you're getting close to that road, and you're getting close to the more treacherous part of that road. I wouldn't travel it in the in snow and slush. Deb is here. Welcome in, Deb. Thank you for bringing your giggles along with me. Thank you. But yeah, I wouldn't travel it in snow and slush, or I haven't yet. At least not with our other car. With my car, I probably would. My car is going back into the shop on Monday, guys. I get to go swap it for a loaner, and they'll take it over to the shop on Tuesday. So the mechanic will actually start looking at it on Tuesday. We took it to Cheyenne, and it did fine. And then we went back to Cheyenne, and we had to idle for a little bit while we were there. And I guess because of the idling, I don't know, but the AC basically stopped working. Like, it was like not blowing again, just like when I was having the check engine light coming on. So I messaged the dealer, and I'm like, look, the AC's not working again. And he's like, are you serious? I said, I wish I wasn't. But yeah, it was not blowing. So we were sitting there. I mean, it's 84, 86 degrees outside, and sun beating through the windows. So it's kind of greenhouse effect inside the car. And it was blowing cold, but it wasn't blowing enough. Like, it was just hovering in front of the vent kind of deal. And again, like I said, it was the same thing that happened when the engine light was going on before. And one of the engine codes that was pulled at one of the points when I had to take it in was related to the HVAC. So it was related to the air conditioning system. So there is still some kind of hiccup with it. But, I mean, I came home, I parked it, then I had to go teach my lesson to finish up Pajama Pants. And when I went to leave to go teach that lesson, like, it was 2-3 hours later, it was working fine. Like, it was working. Just like nothing had happened. And it was working fine. Like, it was working fine yesterday. So it is working fine as long as I don't have extended use. But I need to be able to travel. And my trip to go quilt this is 2 hours away. That's a long enough trip that it would stop working on that trip. Chloe says that is so frustrating, Tammy, right? Like, I mean, it worked fine for one trip, and now it's back to not working again. So, but, you know, I started having issues day one when I bought the vehicle. So I'm not paying for the fixes. He doesn't, I will guarantee you this, if he does say something to me about paying for it, or paying the shop, or whatever, he does not really want to do that. Because, I mean, it wasn't really working that great when I first bought it, but I didn't think anything of it. Like, I just thought it was a crappy air conditioning system, and I would just deal with it. But now that I know that it's not just a crappy air conditioning system in this vehicle, that there is actually, like, it does work, you know, now it's like false advertising because, you know, it didn't work when I got it, but it did work after they did some fixes to it. And, you know, every so often it works. It is a Jeep Cherokee, Judy. It's a 2017 Jeep Cherokee Latitude, so it's a smaller vehicle, one of the smaller Jeeps. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love this vehicle. I absolutely love it. I feel comfortable driving it. I love the way that it handles in four-wheel drive. Leanna's here. Hello to everyone. She's lurking in and out. Had to give you my thumbs up support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Glenda says that she hasn't seen the sun in 3 days. Really depressing for me. So I got all the lights on trying to make my own sunshine. Yes. Yes. You know what? You know what? Hang on. We're going to do something special for you, Glenda. Hang on just a second. Let me grab it and set it up. And you're going to get a little bit of extra sunshine today. How does that sound? You're going to get a little bit of extra. Let's do this. Let me click a couple windows real quick. And we are going to, okay, there's my thing. That's what I'm looking for. And we are going for that, and we're going to add, and that is what we're looking for. Okay, it's not the prettiest view, but it'll still work. And so we are going to bring you a little bit of sunshine. It's not going to be that much. It's not going to be astounding. And I'm going to go adjust it real quick, so bear with me just a second. That way it's more sunshine than parking lot. Because that I can do. We are going to give you guys some sunshine. Alright, so now you guys get to see my parking lot outside of the window. I know it's something, you know, absolutely fantastic. So anybody that does appear in the parking lot, I do apologize. I have no control over what happens out in the parking lot. But now you have some sunshine to look at. Let's see, Chloe saying, I hope for clear skies soon, right? Some clear skies would be amazing. I know how depressing it is to not have the sunshine, and to have just the cloudy, dreary skies. So I know how tough that can be. Glenda says, thank you, Tammy. That means a lot. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. One of the things that I love about Wyoming, guys, and, you know, this is it. There is nothing like Wyoming. Okay, I've been all across the country. There's nothing like it. Yes, there's sections that look like other parts of the world and other parts of the country. Absolutely. You know, it's one globe. You know, there's going to be places that are similar. But there's nothing like Wyoming. You can be out on the interstate. You can be out on one of these side roads. And, you know, you might not be able to see but for like 5 miles for a little bit. And then suddenly you'll come around a corner and you are seeing for 20 miles each direction. So, you're seeing all the way to these mountains, you're seeing all the way to these valleys, you're seeing these plateaus, you're seeing off in the distance. Aside from when we have smoke and haze from wildfires, this is kind of my view. The shadow that you guys are seeing in the parking lot, that's from my apartment building. The red building that you guys are seeing is a gas company. And then the green roof buildings, I don't know how clearly you're seeing those, but the green roof buildings, there's a gym. I think there might be a church, maybe. A little shopping mall kind of stuff. Let me see what else you guys are seeing. You might be seeing Home Depot off in the right-hand corner, or the right-hand top side. Susie says native Wyoming would not live anywhere else, right? I'm not native to Wyoming, but I am absolutely in love. This is why we moved here. We love it. Donna is here. Welcome in, Donna. Handmade by Yang with Donna is here. She says, hello, friends. Welcome, welcome. Glad you made it. We've got some people in parts of the country that do not have some clear, sunny skies, so we are bringing the sunshine to them. Now, guys, my window faces north west. So I get sunset, and that's why my after sunset Sundays, the sun is coming in. If you guys are looking at the cameras, is coming in. Oh, it drops a little to the left of screen over the gas company, that red building. It kind of drops there, right about now, because that's where we're at so far. Let's see. Laura says, my husband was offered a fantastic job in Seattle. He would have made a lot of money, but I told him I couldn't go from 300 days of sunshine in Arizona to 300 days of rain in Wyoming. Right? There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's gorgeous places in Washington. But, like, my brother moved to the Seattle area, and, guys, there's just no way. There's too much humidity and way too much rain. I could not do it. I mean, I was trying to get away from the humidity, so moving to more humid conditions would not have helped, even if it was cold and humid. There we go. We are getting the sunshine over to Glenda. She says it's still raining, but the sun is finally peeking through. Yay! That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, the only thing prettier than this, this scene that you guys are seeing right now is when it is snowing. There are times that when it is snowing, it's amazing. It's just amazing to watch. I grew up with ice storms instead of snow. So I didn't really get to see a lot of snowstorms or snow showers or whatever growing up. But it is so fantastic to look out that window and see the snow falling. It is just amazing. I love it. Let's see. Laura says, right, Chloe, I get depressed when it's overcast, and I know it. Yeah. I mean, now I will say I get a little depressed when there is too much, I can't talk, too much haze in the sky. Donna says, lurking while working. Thank you for keeping me company. Oh, you're welcome, Donna. Thank you for being here. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. Yeah, there's nothing like the Wyoming sunrises and sunsets. They are just absolutely fantastic. Chloe says, I'm not a fan of winter, but I love fall and spring. Okay, so in the Southeast, our version of fall is there might be more pine needles on the ground to rake up. Like, it's not really where I lived near Birmingham. I mean, if you went up on the mountain in Birmingham, Red Mountain really isn't that big. Neither is Iron Mountain or any of those. Not compared to here. But if you went up on one of those mountains, you know, you would have the changing of the leaves a little bit. But unless you drove through an area regularly that had a lot of leaf or a lot of trees that changed leaf color, you really didn't have fall. Like, it was weather-wise, you got a little bit cooler temperatures, but you could have 70, 80 degrees in late October. You could be sweating through your Halloween costume, and you could be wearing shorts on Christmas Day. Like, I mean, it was never cool enough to feel like fall for me. Chloe says, crisp days with beautiful colored leaves in New England. Yes, you definitely have that. You definitely have that. Now, I can understand you not liking winter because you have a humid winter. It's humid. You get snow and you get ice. You get the heavy wet snow. We don't get wet snow here. If we get wet snow, it's rare and it's more springtime snow. Our snow during the winter is typically, or at least what we got last year, is dry snow. So, you know, the whole parking lot could be covered in, you know, snow. Good wind can come blow through, and all the snow will be piled up, you know, in whichever direction the wind blew it. You know, we don't end up with piles and piles of, you know, wet snow anywhere. You know, our first snow or whatever, the ground is still going to be too warm, so it'll melt immediately. But I love the fact that I live somewhere where I'm guaranteed to see snow. I may not see as much, you know, 2022 into 2023, spring of 2023, there was a bad snowstorm, like 40-something inches. I don't remember how many inches. If Rayanne is still here, she can tell us how many inches it was. But it was record setting. It was 40-year record breaking snow. So like they had not had that kind of snow since I was a baby. And it was actually, the record was set the year I was born. And so last year they broke that record. And we didn't get here until after all of that, so we missed the heavy blizzard snow where everything was shut down. But it still amazes me, guys, that, you know, it snows here and people are still getting out and doing things. Like, it's not everything shuts down and all of that. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Right, Chloe? She says, so interesting, right? And what's going to be bad is I'm doing this temperature quilt next year, and it's based off of 2024 numbers. And I'm not going to have anywhere near the snow cover or temperatures that are, you know, historic or anything. Laura says, if I want to see snow, I can drive to the mountains and see plenty of it. It's about a 2-hour drive. Yeah. I mean, now there's already been snow here in the state. Togedy Pass has already had snow. That's the one that I know of that's already had snow so far. You know, we've had thunderstorms with massive hail and damage and such. But yeah, there's already been snow in Wyoming. And it was in August, I believe. Was it? I think it was in August that we already got snow on Togedy Pass. And Togedy Pass is in the western part of the state and a very mountainous region. I drove through there, or my husband drove us through there on the shop hop trip that we took. So we got to see where that was. So we know what we were looking at, or I do, more than I think my husband does. I don't think it registered as much with him as it did with me. But yeah, there's already been snow in the state in 2024 for, you know, second half of the year. Judy says, I lived in Illinois until my late 20s and hated the snow. I would shovel my car out to get to work, then had to shovel again to put my car back in the driveway. See, now that's one of the things that helped us make our decision. So we we spent a lot of time in Chicago. My husband worked for a couple of different trucking companies, and we've spent a lot of time in Chicago and Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. And of course, we spent that during the winter, where we really didn't want to be there during the winter. But we spent time there during the winter, and there's no way you could pay me to live in Illinois or Indiana or Michigan. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Chloe says, I hear you, Judy. Add so much time to your commute. Yeah. Here, unless it is an epic snowstorm, then you don't have that kind of... It's not like that here. And, I mean, you guys... I first got on here in January, so you guys will get to see the changing of the seasons with me. You guys will get to see, you know, kind of how the snow here actually is. And if you can get past the wind in Casper, if you can get past the wind, everything else is gravy. I mean, it's nothing, guys. It is nothing. I mean, there is snow, but it's not oppressive snow. It's not dig your car out in the morning and dig it out in the afternoon. It's, you know, there might be a little bit of like clear off your windshield. The biggest thing is the cold and the wind. We do get negative temperatures here. I remember looking at the thermometer in the house, and like the thermometer outside was registering negative 13. So like it does get really, really cold. But if you can handle the cold, if you can bundle up enough for the cold, you can handle all the rest of it. It is perfectly fine. I would not trade this. I would not trade it at all. The summer has been comfortable. I mean, there's been hot days, and there's been days that have been a little hotter than normal, hotter than what I can normally handle. But I can handle more of the weather here, more days of it, than I ever could down south. Susie says, the last few winters have been mild in Wyoming. Don't like the weather. Wait 5 minutes, right? That is kind of how it is. Yeah, if you don't like it, I mean, if you don't like sunshine, and, you know, my computer says it is 73. Joyce is here. She says, morning, everyone. And Tammy, sorry I'm late. Just woke up. You are fine. You are absolutely fine. Yeah, let's see. Okay, it says it's 63. For some reason, my computer says it's 73 and sunny. It is not 73. It is 63. Feels like 67. The high today is going to be 81. But we're only at 22% humidity. The only bad thing about 22% humidity and windy means that our fire risk is higher. So, I mean, we do have the fire risk, but, you know, all the rest of the weather is tolerable. I wouldn't try to stand in the middle of the fire. Judy says, when my husband got transferred, we had a choice between Minnesota, Texas, or Georgia. Picked Georgia because they didn't get too much snow. Yeah, I can understand that. I wouldn't have picked Texas because it does get oppressively hot. Now, there's parts of Texas that aren't bad, but it does get oppressively hot. I probably would have chosen Minnesota just because they do get snow. But I really kind of like where we're at. I kind of like that we don't have insane amounts of snow, and it's not a crazy deal. And one of the things that drove us here, so my husband had one truck delivery that he was making, and it came to Casper. And I think we picked up in Denver or something like that, or somewhere outside of Denver. And we get up here, and there's no snow on the ground anywhere. Like it's not, there's no snow. It's clear, dry, all of that. Overnight, it snowed. And it snowed pretty impressively. Like, the I-25 north out of town was shut down. There were routes that we couldn't have driven if we wanted to, both because of the wind and because of the snow, because the roads had not been cleared. But, so we wake up, and the truck is covered in snow. So we have to, like, clear the snow off the truck. But it's not bad. I mean, it's cold. Don't get me wrong, it's cold. But it's not bad. And, it's not like Chicago snow, where it's iced and, like, wet and, hard to scrape. It was nothing like that. So we hobble over to where we need to go to make this delivery, and people are getting out and doing their jobs and clearing the sidewalks on the back of the buildings and, clearing the dock and all of this other stuff. And guys, not a single person was complaining. We had never seen that in our entire driving time. Everybody, everywhere, when you get that first snow, you complain. Not here. Nobody was complaining. Susie says, my hubby plowed snow for 40 years. Said when we retired, we were putting a snow shovel in the back of the pickup, and when someone asked what that was used for, we were living there. Oh. So I do have a shovel for the car. Mitzi says, good morning. I'll watch you on TV while I clean my sewing room. I'm glad to be along for the ride. Now, I should have been wearing, for that, I should have been wearing my green shirt that said, or no, it's not the green one. I'm sorry. I've got a purple one. It says that I can't clean my sewing room because I get distracted by all the cool stuff I find. That's the shirt that you need to wear today. Can't clean because you get distracted by all the cool stuff. That is how my life is. Oh. But yeah, I am in love with being here in Casper. Like I said, if you can get past the wind, you can handle the weather here. You can always bundle up if you're too cold. And you can always, in the summer it doesn't get so oppressively hot. You feel like you need to strip more than what's, decent exposures. I mean, you can, but... Liana says, hello, I'm back. Welcome back again. Mitzi says, yes, I need that shirt. Husband is coming home today. Oh, yeah, you got to get it clean before the husband gets here. He can't see the mess, right? Isn't that crazy that we do that, though? And I'm not saying that that's what Mitzi's doing. So don't misread. Don't mishear. But isn't it so crazy? So if we have somebody coming over, we feel like we have to clean so they don't see our messy. But, life is messy. Life is messy, and, company needs to understand that life is messy. Husbands and spouses and kids need to understand life is messy. And sometimes, Mitzi says, husband said he will not shovel snow again. That's what you pay the kid down the street for. That's what he makes his money on every winter, is he is on snow patrol. He needs to shovel you guys out an hour before you need to go anywhere, and he needs to come touch up, all of this other. I mean, that's what I will end up paying a neighborhood kid for if I move, if we move out of this apartment, which I'm hoping we will eventually do, and we have a home. If my husband is not around or can't or is no longer able to shovel snow, if I don't feel like it, that is what I'm going to have a teenager on speed dial for. I'm going to go, I can't come pick you up because I can't get out of my driveway, so you need to walk your rear over to my place if you want this money. I will pay for it, but you are going to come do it for me. I will find a local teenager for it. Mitzi says the mess is not so bad, except my recent fabric purchases need to be put away. I went shopping while the cat was away. Right? Okay, so I didn't go shopping while the hubby was away. The hubby took me shopping. That's my problem, is the hubby took me shopping. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's see, 3. I got 7 fabrics and then 3 full bolts. So I got 10 fabrics this last trip. Andrea's here. She says, howdy, 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 everyone. Cutting fabric and watching on the big screen. Okay, so you can't point out the lack of makeup, okay? That's the only requirement. No pointing out the lack of makeup. Susie says, remodeling duties call, gotta go. Everyone have a great day. You have fun, Susie. Stay safe doing that remodeling. We want you back on your long arm soon. I want to see what you're getting done in your studio once you get all that remodeling done. So yeah, as soon as this thing is done, I get to get back to Andrea's quilts. So yeah, I have not cut any more on that. I have just been trying to cut this. I had a lot of blocks to trim up, guys. I just had that one corner done, the one corner that's on the wall that you now can't see because I've got the sunshine there. But I had that one corner done, and so I assembled the 3 other corners, and we are down to the last 2. So I've got this one and one more on the center section of the longer quilt, and then we should be able to assemble and put corners on and be done. Isn't that exciting? You guys will get to see this come together. And the only thing that will be left is borders. Let's see. Andrea says I have my volume all the way up on my headset and still cannot hear. All right, hang on. Let's see. Okay, that's as far up as that goes. Bear with me just a second. I will fix that. My microphone is out of reach, so bear with me. I'm having to reach. Okay. Let's see if that helps any better. Let me know, Andrea. Putting the microphone right over here next to me. The biggest ruler that I have a 7 by 24, and I have a 14 inch. Those are the 2 that I have. Those are the 2 biggest ones that I have. As a 7 by 24, I don't use it very often because I can't hold it. Debating if I should buy the Big Easy by Creative Grids 12.5 by 24. It would be a good ruler as long as you have enough room cleared out to use it. My problem, okay, it is much better. Good. All right, I'm going to slide it over just a hair. And I got to make sure my iron is not touching the cord. So bear with me just a second. There we go. Don't want to melt the microphone cord. Not going to do that today. That's not on the agenda. Let's see. One day I was in the grocery store getting ready to pay, and he said, "Put your money away. You need that for fabric." Oh my gosh. Okay, I need your husband to come talk to mine and do the same thing. Mine's already sweet like that, but you know, he needs a few tips every so often, right? Oh. So my reason that I don't use my 8 by 20 or 7 by 24, Mitzi says that she has that big one on her cutting table and love it. That's awesome. So I have a, what is it? 24 by 36 inch mat. And I apologize, you guys. The sirens, I can't do anything about those. We do live right next to a fire station. So it is not uncommon for us to hear about all of the things. Leanna says she has to go now, but everyone in the chat, have a great day. Katie, I sent out the quilt. Awesome. You guys rock. Have fun, Leanna. Have a good day. So the, and I did say hi to you earlier, Katie, right? Right? I think so. Don't be mad at me if I didn't. It was not intentional. So the reason that I don't have any of the other big rulers is I tend to work in small spaces. I wish I had a much larger space, but I don't. I have the room for the 24 by 36 inch ruler. If I took my cutie frame down and took my long arm down, I would have double that on my table, but then I would have to find a place to put my cutie and my long arm. So I don't really have the room to have the big rulers, and I really don't use them very often. I tend to cut small. So my fabric yardage, I don't cut like my... So fabric comes 44 inches, 44, 45 inches. My fabric is always folded in fourths. So I'm cutting across 4 layers of fabric to cut one with the fabric piece. So I'm never cutting, usually, I'll put it that way. I'm usually never cutting anything larger than that. I wouldn't know what it would be like to be able to cut larger than that. I've really never had that kind of space. Even when I ran a sewing machine store, it was inside of Hancock Fabrics. And so my cutting space has always been limited. I've never had a big cutting table. I mean, I could go use their cutting tables if they were, like, not busy. But I always had to, like, move things out of the way or wait until they were basically dead, or it had to be before or after their shift or the store was open for the day for me to have a bigger cutting space like that. So I don't know if I, had the space, if I would use it or not. So yeah, it's never even been an option. Until I got my long arm and the table that it came with. I was using a plastic table, one of those 2-foot by 4-foot tables, as my cutting table. So my mat had to fit on my 24-inch deep table. And when I closed my store, my counter height or my counter depth was also 24 inches. So even when I had the fancy cabinetry and all of that I used to sew on, I still did not have very deep cutting space. I find when I cut folded and before I get a bow in the fold, yeah. So the way to avoid that is I unfold my fabric. So I don't fold it straight from the bolts. I try to wash everything, but even the things that I don't wash, I unfold it and so I unfold it and then I refold it and repress, and then I will fold again and press again. And I make sure that the entire width of fabric is tucked into it. So like I don't have like a little section where the fabrics are not meeting the whole way. And so I never run into that problem as much as long as I unfold, press all the folds out, press everything out, and then refold and repress. And I also make sure that when you go to fold fabric, especially like when you're folding a lot of fabric. Let's say you're folding more than 2 yards. 2 yards is kind of about as much as I can handle height-wise. So what I do is I take and I will fold the selvages together, and then I make sure that my fabric is naturally falling together. So when you press out that fold, you don't have the pre-done fold in the way, making your life difficult. So pressing out that fold is the first thing, and then repressing my new folds in. That's kind of the key to how I do it. There are times that I still get it. There's still times I get bumps or whatever. But that majority of the time, that fixes it. Let's see. Andrea says that's what I have, and it hangs over on the edge of that. Yeah, the 24-inch table. Yeah, it's really not deep enough. It really is not. I need something bigger. Andrea says, I got 2 very nice tools for my birthday that help me bunches. I got a Stripology ruler and a Fiskars cutter. They're game changers for me. I do not have luck with the Fiskars cutters. They just do not fit my hands well. Not saying that that's for everybody, but they don't fit my hands well, so that's why I don't use them. I use the Fiskars scissors. Better believe I use my Fiskars scissors. But I don't use... I'm sitting here trying to shove this under here, and the thread was in the way. I'm being silly. I'm being silly. But yeah, I do have a Fiskars cutter, but I love my Martellis. They definitely are easier on my hands than all the other ones I've tried. Katie says, I want a Stripology ruler so bad, or so much. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about them. One thing that I have heard, and Andrea, you can help with this since you have one. I have heard that it's suggested to always pick them up with 2 hands. Because, you know, if you don't pick them up with 2 hands, you do run the risk of, you know, possibly damaging the ruler or having it break, etc. That's one thing that I've heard. I know that the like knockoff versions definitely would break, but I've heard that the Stripologies would too. Chloe says that the Stripologies are fabulous. Andrea says that she's working on Becca's Trellis Garden pattern with the squirrels and was able to cut the fabric in a fraction of the time. Oh yeah, absolutely. Donnell has joined the chat. Welcome in, Donnell. Good morning to you. Well, good afternoon to you. It's good morning here still. Fiskars strip cutting system. Okay, gotcha. Judy says that she loves the Martelli cutters. Best thing that I bought. It is in my Facebook memories somewhere. When I got my when I got my Martelli cutter, I also bought the rotating mat. So the rotating cutting mat that I have, along with the rotating ironing board and all of that, I bought when I bought my Martelli cutter. It came in. Lorraine is joining the chat. Welcome in, Lorraine. I think it's the first time I've seen you in my chat. Welcome. Glad to have you. Let's see. I have a Martelli. Don't care for it at all. Haven't had any good luck with it at all. It's a learning curve. Let's see. Knockoff Stripology is inaccurate. Oh yeah, that's major. That's major. You don't want an inaccurate ruler. Donnell got the Fiskars system for Andrea. Laura says just got Stripology and love it. I also use a Martelli cutter, but recently got a Kai rotary cutter and love that too. I've heard good things about the Kai ones, but I have not seen how they would handle in my hands. Katie, a lot of the issues that I've seen people have with the Martelli, there's 2 issues. One is because of the way that the cutter is designed, it's not designed to cut at the same angle as an Olfa or Fiskars or whatever, like a traditional the traditional rotary cutters. It's not designed to cut at the same angle. And a lot of people do try to hold the Martellis at the same angle as their other rotary cutters. So it is a learning curve, and it is an adjustment. That is one of the biggest complaints I've heard, from people who don't like their Martellis. It's because, they struggle with it because and when I've watched people who say that they struggle, that's what they're doing, is that they're holding the rotary cutter at an odd angle. So that may be something you look at and see whether or not that's why you're not liking it. Another thing is a lot of people want to get just the 45 millimeter and not worry about any of the other sizes. If you are cutting through a lot of layers, it might be, Katie. You could actually stand and cut with a Martelli, but sitting to cut would be the way to learn how to hold your hand for it, and then you could transition to standing to cut. Um, and if you are leaning down significantly for standing to cut with a Martelli, it doesn't work as well. You do need to have your cutting mat at the correct height for the way that you have to hold your hand. It is designed to be ergonomic, and a lot of our cutting stations are not ergonomic to our heights. So that is another aspect that plays into it. If you are cutting small items that are curved, or you are cutting thicker items like foam and batting, you do need to go up or down on size. So like the 18 or 28 or whatever it is. That's I use the small one for my paper piecing. But I would not try to cut curves on my 45 millimeter. It just doesn't work very well. Katie says that she's messed up yardage because of the Martelli rotary. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend you learn on yardage. Learn on smaller pieces. Learn on a project that's a little bit more forgiving, and see if you can get the hang of it that way. Andrea says, I have to show you my rotating mat. My daughter made it for me out of one of those big kitchen turntables and cut down a cutting mat for me and mounted it. It works perfect, and made from things I had. That's awesome. Chloe says, that sinks, Katie. I prefer Alpha 2. Katie says, I stand and cut. I don't cut sitting down, and that might be why the Martelli. Yeah. I mean, it could be. It definitely could be. So, let's see. I got a TrueCut ergonomic rotary cutter when they had them on sale. Love it. It's so easy to change blades. You just push your button, pop out the old one, and put the new one in. That's the other complaint about Martelli, is learning to change the blades on them. A lot of people do not want to take the amount of time it takes to change the rotary cutting blade in a Martelli. And then if you do lose a spring or a part or whatever, if you don't have replacement parts available locally, then you have to order and wait. So I get why people would not want a Martelli. I get it. I just know, for me, I could not physically hold a rotary cutter like a Fiskars or an Alpha long enough to do the amount of cutting I need to do. So Martelli works fantastic for me. I also don't have a whole lot of wrist strength in either wrist. The one that's in a brace right now, I'm fighting with it. I thought I was doing better. A couple days ago, I had to take the brace off 4 or 5 times during the day to let my wrist breathe and let my wrist settle, because it just was not doing well. It was hurting. It'll probably be hurting tonight as well, so we'll see. But my right wrist does not have much more strength than my left, so it's not a movement issue, it's a gripping issue. And it's also due to my fibromyalgia and the fatigue with fibromyalgia. So when I overuse muscles, like doing this all day and feeding fabric through the machine and manipulating with my fingers, later in the day, my hands will hurt just from fatigue. How long are you going to have to be in that brace, Tammy? They said 4 to 6 weeks, according to like Cleveland Clinic and such. My doctor that gave me the brace was like, oh, well, whenever you feel like it. But Cleveland Clinic and other places, for the diagnosis she gave me, they were saying 4 to 6 weeks. And then, you might be okay. You might not have to go any further. But it is looking like I am going to have to get steroid injections. I go back on the 27th, so 1 week after my quilting quilting on the long arm expedition. So 1 week later, I'll go back, and so she may be doing steroid injections, and then if that does not work, then I am probably looking at surgery. Let's see, are you going through therapy for it? Not yet. We're trying to get me back into physical therapy. One of my doctors sent in the orders to get me back in, and physical therapy hasn't called me yet. It usually takes them about a week to get me in, so it's not a big deal. I should be in by probably this time next week. That's what I'm thinking anyway. At least be back to getting scheduled. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Andrea says you would love the TrueCut if you had it. You can get a ruler with it if you want. It has a track that the cutter can go in. I did not get it, but I might later. I have thought about it. I will be honest. I have thought about getting the TrueCut. But my problem with it is the expense. Right now, money is not easy for me to come by. So a lot of things I am having to just make work from what I have. So TrueCut is not, I'd have to budget to get a TrueCut system right now. And we're trying to budget to get into a house. So it's either the house or the cutting system. So it'd have to be the house. Katie says issues, right? Right? All right. So the other section was those 3 rows. This is all of the others, guys. Lots and lots of rows. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my corner units. Now, here's why this is a corner unit other than just the fact that it has a corner, okay? The long row here has 4 blocks and 2, angled pieces, two half pieces. That is as big as the corner sections have to be. All of the other rows in these quilts, because these quilts are long, they're short and long, all of these other rows are 5 blocks. So, yeah, we get to attach them. And then we get to come back and attach the 3-row one. Oh, wow, that's impressive pricing, Andrea. She says she paid $14.95 for her rotary cutter when they were advertising them on Facebook. That's awesome. Chloe says, very pretty. Thank you. Andrea says, that is so pretty. Thanks. I'm just glad that it's coming together. It's that moment of just thankfulness that it's not looking awful. That I did something right. So this is going to probably, and I'm going to double check it because this is my first corner to be adding. At one of these sides is going to be at, like it's going to match and it's going to form another corner. So I'm just double checking to make sure that I'm setting this right because this is the first one. Yep, that is correct. All right. Looking lovely, Tammy. Thank you. Mitzi says, beautiful. Love the colors. I actually, I designed it, but I didn't choose the colors. These were all my clients' choices. So when we went, and I don't think I ever finished the story about how the colors came to be. So I took a whole bunch of paint chips. I went to Home Depot and picked out a whole bunch of paint chips and took them over to my client's house, and we started comparing. Like, I picked out a few things to base the quilt colors off of, and they're sentimental pieces that he has, and so we took the paint chips and I had him visualize, yes, this is the client quilt. I had him take the paint chips up to each piece of artwork and each piece of whatever, and like we had a whole bunch of paint chips that we ended up tossing. Like they didn't match, they weren't the right shades, whatever. But I had him pick out the paint chips that matched the things that we were trying to match. So one of his paintings has a blue background and it has some of this green and a little bit of like white or gray in it.
So the majority of this quilt is based off of one painting that's in his home, that has sentimental value to him. And the brown actually matches the woodwork in his home. So like I took a lot of paint chips, and we just like started marking which ones he liked. There were some oranges in there, and when it came down to picking the colors for the fabric, like actually picking the fabrics off the shelf, he's like, I'm not in love with the orange. It's like, okay, that's fine. We'll toss the orange. We don't have to do the orange. So we altered it based off of how he was feeling when he was looking at fabrics. He really didn't like any of the oranges. He wasn't absolutely in love with the orange. He wanted to go with a more subdued color set. So this is all of his choices. And I think they came out really well. I think it was a good color combination. Let's see. Beautiful and love the color, says Glenda. Thank you. And Laura says, beautiful work. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Guys, I don't remember when I started cutting on this, but this has been just a few weeks in the works. This has not been going on for a very long time. I've been planning it for a little bit longer than this. My goal was to make sure that he has it by Christmas, so that it is up in his home for New Year's, for when family comes to visit. But it will be up well before then. He is going to be gone most of the month of October on travel. It is nice to be retired and be able to travel. He does a lot of it. So I want to... It may not be done before he leaves in October, but at least I will have the chance to measure the railing, so we can come up with how we're going to do the railing attachments, because I want him to be able to attach this easily and not have to fight with it, so that if he does want to take it down and wash it or whatever, it's going to hold up beautifully. If his housekeeper takes it down and washes it, however the heck they want to do it. But I want to make sure that they're going to be able to wash it as necessary and put it back up. And it's going to look just as beautiful every time. Like, I don't want them to have to worry about, I don't want him or anyone else to have to worry about, it not coming out the way it's supposed to. With having the railing ties on there in the right spots, then there won't be any debate about putting it up correctly. So, Melissa is here. Welcome in, Melissa. Glad you made it. Been a long time no chat. I think. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote. I'm not a quoting person today. Alright, so we have one corner attached. And look how seamless that is, guys. I would have to show you exactly where the corner came in, like where I attached it, because it's in the screen, but yeah, it's exactly where it needs to be. Alright, so let's go do the other one, and then we've got 2 more to go. Alright, this is corner number 2. And we've got 3 and 4 to go around the smaller pieces. That one will be a little bit easier to manhandle. Oh. And if any of you guys are football fanatics, the Alabama Crimson Tide football game is apparently on right now. Melissa says it has been a while. Well, I keep missing lives. No worries. I'm just glad you're here. I'm just really glad you're here. Alright, so I am going to flip this over. This is my big piece that's here on the table. I am going to flip that over so that I have my seams for my corner pieces on top. That way it's a little bit easier to work with it. Andrea says those are colors I would not think of putting together, but seeing it, I love it. I'm normally a bright color person, and it's really kind of funny. Ooh, I just had a power flicker. Okay, if I lose signal, if I lose the web broadcast, guys, it is something to do with the apartment complex. It is not me. Maybe they just don't want us to watch Alabama football today. My husband is out there watching it. They are playing at Wisconsin right now. This game probably started like 20 minutes ago or something like that. So in case you guys wonder, yes, the husband is home and watching that. So yeah, I'm not... Oh, Chloe's going. Okay, all right, bye, Chloe. Have a good one. I probably wouldn't have chosen these colors either. But we were choosing it based off of all of these colors looking good in this painting. So that's kind of what we based it off of. And when we went to the fabric store, you know, we took the paint chips with us. And I gave him the paint chip and told him which one we'd marked on the paint chip because he was having trouble seeing it a little bit. But I held it up and I was like, okay, here's the color you chose. And so he chose these fabrics off the shelf at the quilt store based off of the paint chips. And so they do work beautifully. I'm not normally a super bright color person. You know, I guess some of my previous quilts would prove that wrong. Because I have done some very bright quilts recently. But I'm not normally a bright quilt person. I do like a lot of contrast, and this doesn't have as much contrast, especially between the gray and the lime green here. That's like not a lot of contrast. But once it is in person, you don't need a lot of that contrast. Like, it's still going to look beautiful even without, you know, being a high contrast situation. But I showed it to my husband because I was like, okay, you want to come see what I've got done so far? And of course I had the corner that's up on my wall right now done, and he's like, that's what this quilt's gonna look like? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And the thing is, it's not my husband's colors either. Like, it's not gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous. So don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous. But it's definitely not my husband's color choices either. So, yeah, don't ever feel bad if something's not your color choices. It can still be gorgeous and beautiful. And this is going to go into his, you know, this is into my client's world, not my world or my husband's world or whatever else. Let's see, if I was watching it, I would be yelling at the TV. I love football, but my husband is still asleep, so no football for me. Plus, I really try to support my sewing buddies, especially my testers. You're awesome, Andrea. Thank you. So, when I get done here, if the game is still on, which it probably will be, because I've only got 2 corners left to go, then it will probably be a matter of changing out into my Crimson Tide shirt and going to sit in front of the TV for a little bit. But I think I'll get a pass because I still have too much left to do. And my lights just flickered again, guys. So I don't know what the heck is going on. I do not know. We normally don't have issues. I mean, and you guys can see outside it's clear and gorgeous. I don't know if you guys are seeing the flickers on your side. I don't know if you guys are seeing the power flicker. So if you guys are seeing it, let me know. Because I know I feel like I'm just blinking almost. But yeah, my husband is a diehard Crimson Tide fan. Donna, Roll Tide Roll is right. Absolutely. My husband will love you long time. You came into my chat and Roll Tide rolled me. Oh. Now, the one game that I don't know, I normally can't watch it. The one game I can't watch is Mississippi State versus Alabama. Okay, yeah. Mine doesn't flicker when the iron comes on or off, and the iron's... It is on. But mine lights don't flicker for that. It's more likely to flicker because people upstairs doing something weird. That's what I'm thinking is going Let's see. Need to take a picture of the quilt I'm currently working on. It was not my choice either. I have no idea why she picked the color she did. I will be glad to get this crib quilt done. There are moments like that too. I've got a lot of moments like that. Oh, you're north of Huntsville, Donna. Okay. I used to live in Huntsville. I lived there for 10 years. All right. So this one is done. All right. So here's one end. This is the longer one. I told you it's the longer one, right? All right. There we go. That's finally the end. All right. So this quilt, this one is going on the long railing. And so this is the majority quilt. So this is the very, very tall quilt. So holding this up, I am stretching my arms up as high as they will go, guys. Okay, I guess that's outside. I'm stretching my arms up as far as they go, and the quilt fold is still on the floor. So it is insanely long, but that's exactly what it needed to be. So aside from adding borders, this quilt top is done. And all I got left to do is attach 2 more corners, and the other one will be done. The shorter one will be done. So let's do that. Oh, I pinned that one. Let me get the pins out. And put the pins where I can reach them. They're way up high. I'm 5'4", and I think I can reach about 6 feet. Well, I can reach a little over 6 feet, I guess, because, you know, 5'4", and my arm is a little bit longer than that. All right, Lorraine says it's very nice. Andrea said awesome, right? Right? So, I mean, I still have borders. So, you know, I can't do too much celebrating just yet. But everything but the borders is done on that one. All right, so this is my next piece. This is the 3-row set. So this is the shorter quilt. And then that corner up there, that will be my last corner to add. All right, making sure I turn this the right direction. And I like the fact that these are duplicate quilts. So everything that is in one is in the other, and it is identical except for the amount of rows. So they are going to go nicely as a pair, and there's not going to be any confusion. I mean, you can't mistake that for as many rows as this is going to be. So that was 9 rows of 5, and this one is 3 rows of 5. So that one had 45 full blocks in the center, and this one only has 15. So 30 blocks difference between the two. 30 blocks on point makes a huge difference. Huge difference in size. And setting these on point also gives a little bit more grace. So that way you don't have to worry as much about making as many blocks, because the on point setting does extend the size. All right, there we go. And pull this, rearrange as I go. Gotta rearrange, right? Gotta rearrange. All right. And then I'm going to, let's see, found a tapestry on Amazon that is made of flannel. I'm ordering it to put on my dining room wall so I can hang my queen and king quilts on them as I work on them. Oh, that works. That works. when I had my biggest studio ever, was the formal dining room in the house that I was living in. I've not had a big studio since then, or not as big of a studio since then, and definitely not as well organized. Andrea says the dining room wall is the only one without windows or doors large enough for it. Yeah, that was kind of my deal. The design wall that I made for that, and Sean's guest this morning from Soft Corners, Cozy. I didn't pay attention closely enough. I think it's whatever her company is. Oh my gosh, I can't think. The lady that Sean had on his live this morning as his special guest, the design wall on her wall, she said was foam core insulation board, 4-foot by 8-foot sheets, and the covering on it was a flat sheet, a queen size flat sheet, Soft Squares. Okay, yeah, so I was close. Lynn from Soft Squares. Okay, gotcha. I couldn't remember that either. I couldn't remember her name for sure. I will learn it. But hers was a flannel sheet, flannel queen size sheet stretched over the foam core board. My design wall, in my best design wall ever, was 1.5 inches thick. I could have gone with 2 inches. I probably will the next time. And it was 1.5 inches thick, and we glued the foam core board onto plywood. And my husband at the time drilled through the plywood into the wall and installed it on studs on the wall. And I actually had 3 pieces. So I had 2 4-foot pieces and 1 3-foot piece. I take that back. It wasn't 2 4-foot pieces. It was 1 4-foot piece, and then we had to cut 1 to 3-foot because I only had 7 feet between the light switch and the wall. And I didn't want to cover up the light switch because it was the only light switch for that room. Let's see. Andrea was thinking that one with the squares would be helpful. Yeah, it would be. You can do it without, though. I promise. It's not as bad as it seems. I did not have guidelines on mine. Mine was solid white flannel at the time. This one's blue flannel, and I stretched it over foam core poster board. And we used the little mirror clips, like the clear plastic clips that you swing around to hold a mirror onto the wall in the bathroom. We used those to do the outside edges, and then we just did some little brad type nails between the boards, because I've got 6 boards up there. I've got more boards, or I bought more boards to put more up there, but I'm not going to do it. This is as big as this wall can get, really and truly. Let's see. You were the one who asked her. Gotcha. I didn't know who asked her about it. I just remember her going into it. And the moment she said 2-inch foam core, I was like, oh, okay. And it is fantastic to use that thick foam core because then you can pin into it. So when you have super thick pieces, like my micro minis, the 2.5-inch finish, so they're 3 inches right now. These micro minis, they're fantastic, but there is so many seams on the back of this that it doesn't stick to the flannel no matter what you do. So you do still have to pin. I also have a fan in here blowing. So with the fan blowing, it will sometimes blow things off of my design wall. So that is another reason that you have to be able to pin into my design walls, because I make it difficult for myself. So yeah, I always recommend foam core so you don't have to pin directly into the wall. If you don't mind replacing your drywall every so often, it's fine, but I'm renting, so I don't have a choice. Let's see, pink flannel sheet that you use in the sewing room, but is only large enough for full size or smaller. And I do a lot of large quilts. Yeah, you could always piece the twin size to another twin size, and then you have a king size. You'll actually have larger than a king size. A twin size flat sheet has drape. So a twin size flat sheet is larger than what you will typically make a twin size quilt. A twin size quilt is smaller than what a flat sheet is going to be. I know it's crazy, but that is how the sizing works. So yeah, it's a full size. Yeah, so you could actually do 2 full sizes. I mean, you could actually, sew together 2 queens. And especially if you're putting up multiple boards or whatever, just make sure you position that seam to where it is, straight up and down for your OCD. Like I would have to. I have a little OCD, just a little, just a bit of OCD. You want to make sure that, that seam line is straight, because you're going to probably end up using that seam line to guide other decisions. We ended up using the corner of the wall, so where my foam core or my poster board gets to the wall, we used that as our guideline. But if your corner isn't straight, there's a challenge there. Andrew says, I had someone do the work for me. I would do one on a track system that would slide in front of my fabric shelves, and I would be able to have a large one in here. Yeah. I could totally see doing a portable design wall that way. And I mean, if I were able to design my own studio, the shelves that I've got behind me, that's fine. I like them. They're good. I don't need built-ins. Built-ins come with their own problems. So these kinds of shelves are fine. And I like the fact that they're portable, so if I needed to change my mind in, 2 years, I could change my mind. But I would still do the shelving units, but I would definitely do track lighting for around the studio, and I would do a track system and do like those partition boards that can fold up and like tuck into a corner or something, and then you can unfold them. Those already have fabric on them typically, but you could always cover them in something prettier than the fabric that they come in. But yeah, doing that would be fantastic too, because then you could just, expand it when you need it and put it away when you don't. Everything in my studio, for the most part, is portable. My thread shelf you can't move. I really don't want to move the shelves that my fabrics are sitting on, so I've got a shelving unit in front of me that I'm looking at when I look at my computer, and then I've got the shelving behind me. Those I really don't want to move, but I could. And then I've got a bookshelf. I could move it if I needed to. And then my long arm table and this machine table, they could move all the time. So I could move them wherever I needed to, move them out, set up plastic tables, whatever I need to do, I could do. So like I try to make as much of my room portable as I can, because then, especially working in a smaller space, it gives you more flexibility when things are portable. All right, almost there, guys. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. We're done. We're done. We have a 4-bedroom house, and I take up most of it with all my sewing stuff, says Andrea. Oh, we've got a 2-bedroom, and I have to keep all of my stuff confined to this room, because if I don't, it will be all over the place. All right. So, this, you know what? Hang on. I'm going to bring you guys off of the window. There we go. All right. So, this is the entire height of the quilt, okay? So, this is the top, this is the bottom, or vice versa, okay? That is as tall as it is, because it's going to hang off of a railing. And this is the smaller of the two. Okay, you guys can tell that this was way smaller than the other one. I mean, I don't even have to like reach up, and this is not on the floor already. Like, it's not on the floor. So I will have to press my sashing. All my sashing is getting pressed towards the brown. All my cornerstones were already pressed. So all the sashing rows that I added today, and pressing them towards the other sashing pieces. And all I got left, guys, is borders. Are you shocked? It's amazing. It's amazing. Andrea says, okay, back to cutting fabric. I'll not be taking over the chat anymore. Sorry, guys. You're fine, Andrea. You're fine. All right. So tomorrow night, my goal is I will be working on Andrea's quilt. So you guys will get to see another block go together. I'm going to start filming tutorials this upcoming week as far as how to do those blocks individually so that they can be put together into one series. Joy says, so pretty. Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So just borders. That's all I got left is just borders. I'm so excited. How many times can I say it, right? But so tomorrow night, I look forward to working on another Star-Crossed Path block. So you guys will get to see another block go together. And then again, during the week, I'm going to be working on putting that all together. Wednesday, I am out of commission. Thursday, what is Thursday? Thursday was something. Thursday is my volleyball class. So I'll be kind of out of commission Thursday a little bit as well. And then Friday I will be gone quilting. So I will have some limited time to get things done. I'll have Monday morning and Tuesday morning. Monday I'm actually teaching a class. I will be teaching, it's kind of like a truncated class. It's going to be teaching it at my guild. I'm going to be teaching cut and chiseled at my quilting group. So I will be working on that Monday, getting prepped for that for Monday night. And then Tuesday night, I'll be here with you guys. We are probably going to work Tuesday night on the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt, Tree of Life. So if you have not sewn your Clue 8, I believe we are in Clue 8. If you've not sewn your Clue 8, that's probably what we will be doing Tuesday night. But I will have more updates for you by tomorrow evening. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I may need to go to the fabric store and go get some more fabric for the borders. I'm going to touch base and see what they want, what my client wants, and go from there. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here this morning. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that or hit the thumbs down. Either one, I don't mind. If you guys are watching this on the replay, please leave a comment. Let me know you were here. We are at 430 subscribers as of this morning, or maybe a little bit more than that. We are looking to try to get to that 500. Hopefully. Oh, yes, I did get my rings. They are back. They are gorgeous. You know what? Hang on. I'll bring you guys over. All right. So these are my rings. My wedding band is black diamonds. My original wedding band was also black diamonds. So when he replaced them, he replaced the wedding band with black diamonds. And my engagement ring also now has black diamonds as well. But yes, they are back. They are in great shape. They are no longer catching or hanging on anything. So yeah, we are good to go. All right. So yep, I do have them back. I'm so excited to have them back. All right. So I'm going to get off of here, you guys, and go take care of what I need to take care of. And I will see you guys tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for After Sunset Sunday.